just gonna go through my gear, and I'm gonna start off with the first guitar that I got and the story behind it. So the first guitar, got a pawn shop in Kittery, Maine. Can't remember the name of the pawn shop. Long gone. eBay killed off most of the pawn shop except for Pawn Stars. Got this for $129, and at the time, I asked my fiance, high school sweetheart, if I could get it, and she was more concerned with me saving money so that we could have a nice place to live and a future. Needless to say, guitar's here. She's not. I bought it and had my parents say that they bought it for me. I don't think she ever found out. She's probably never going to listen to this. Either way, that's what happened. Absolutely loved it. Always wanted a Crackle guitar because I'm an 80's hairband fan, and this was cool back then. And reverse headstock. I wish all my guitars had a reverse headstock. That is just the coolest thing. So, not exactly original. Like I said, it was a $129 pawn shop buy. And when I bought it, it needed a lot of work. I probably played it for a couple years, and just from that, it needed some TLC. First thing I did to it is it had a Floyd Rose, so I didn't know how to set up a Floyd Rose back then. And this isn't the original one. That one broke. We'll get into that later. But I took it into Gary's Guitar, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Big shout out to them. Gary's awesome. New owner's awesome. Brought it in so that they could set it up because, when I tuned it, the bridge was like, when you're a kid, you don't know how to use the claw and stuff in the back. You're like, oh, you start crying. So I paid the $20 or whatever it was. New strings, I strung it up. And when I picked it up, he's like, yeah, I got it the best I could, but the frets on it it needed some TLC. It was really, whoever had it before, the pawn shop used it and used it a lot. The frets were all wavy. The fretboard needed to be oiled. It was all dried and cracked. But as you can see, I brought it back to life. It literally looked like an old piece of dry furniture. So, after that, the next thing I did is I changed this pickup. All I wanted it to sound like Eddie Van Halen. So, I went into, God, I can't remember the name of the store, but they're long gone too, and I said, what pickup does Eddie Van Halen use? And they didn't know. They just told me the Margio. It's not the Air Zone, Tone Zone. So that's what this is. And I didn't really think it sounded like that brown nose and all that jazz. But later on, when I tell the story about another guitar, this actually sounded more like the Wolfgang guitar that I bought, which was $1,300 at the time. And I was like, wow, I just spent $1,300 on the Ernie Ball Wolfgang brand new guitar that Eddie used on stage and designed and had his pickup in it. And this $129 guitar sounded as good, if not better, than that one. And I was pretty pissed off about that. And that was the last, wasn't the last time, but it was probably one of the few times that I bought a really expensive guitar. Now I just buy cheap guitars and I fix them up because, one, they're just pieces of wood with pieces of metal and some friggin' pickups that you plug in. Okay, so if you want to go in there and pay for that $4,000, $5,000 relic guitar on there, that's just as the same as the one on the bottom for like $200. Only they put some different parts on it and filed it a little bit better. By all means, go ahead, knock yourself out. I'm not. So I changed this pickup. Later on, this bridge fell apart. Can't remember what. Oh yeah, the pegs fell out. They wouldn't go back in. The whammy bar thing fell out. So I brought it into Stonewall or the Naked Guitar Repair. He put this on, which he recommended, and I can't even remember. Okay, so it's a Gotch, which is, they make the tuners, right? It's just a licensed Floyd Rose, a little bit better built. Did I put the? It's got the FU tone block on the back of it, and I used to have a George Lynch Screaming Demon on there up here, but it sounded pretty much just like this pickup here, so I switched it. And now I have a Blue Velvet DiMaggio pickup, which I don't think they make anymore, but it's got like the most insane bluesy sound ever. And I honestly can't remember which one this is, but I just threw it in there. And obviously I changed the knobs on it, and it's got, it splits the rear, and you got your 5 positions, so you get just this, these two middle, these two, and that. And then I had him put the pyramid shape, I can't remember, 8805 or something like that, warmer fret wire on it. And Scott at the Naked Repair did the fretwork on it. I mean, the action is just insanely low on it. So I had new frets, new this, tone block. The only thing I don't like about this guitar is it's not 24 frets. I wish every guitar was 24 frets, and yeah, you can come up here and get the same as if you were down here, but love this guitar. Will never get rid of this guitar. I'll hand it down to my kids or somebody, but this is my favorite guitar, just because of the story behind it, what it led to me finding through Gary's Guitar and Naked Guitar Repair. If it wasn't for this guitar needing work, I would have met those people. I would have never taken the acoustic and electric Luther class that Scott Stonewall Miller at Naked Guitar took. I wouldn't know how to set up my own Floyd Rose. I wouldn't know how to wire my own pickups. Although I did wire this one by myself before that, so I was somewhat capable. But yeah, pretty much, if I had a guitar and I changed the strings, I would take it to the shop to have them set up the Floyd Rose. And if you're talking to Scott, that happens a lot. I wasn't the only one, because they would, oh no, Floyd Rose, people just didn't know how to set it up. And to be honest with you, it's very easy. There's none of this string jumping when you're tuning. Tune it, and then adjust your claw. Once you get the claw set, and you got this level, and it's in tune, you lock it down, and then you fine tune it. But a lot of people don't know about adjusting the claw and the springs in the back. And depending on your gauge of strings, you might need an extra spring, or you might need to take a spring off. But most of it's just adjusting that claw in the back. And if you have Floyd Rose, take those crappy friggin' tone blocks off the back that the springs snap into, and get yourself a $50 brass block from FU Tone. The sustain is hugely different. It's still going. And before it would just be like, but I call this Old Blue. That's a Westone rip off of a Jackson Dinky, if you ask me, back in the day. But Jackson Dinkies are actually pretty cheap, and they're also only 22, not supposed to 24 frets. And I thought about buying a couple of those, But this was there. It's 129 bucks, pawn shop buy, and this is the very first guitar that I purchased after high school. I did have a red Charvelle that I wish I never got rid of. I traded it in towards an Ibanez Gem, which I put on layaway because that was $1,200 back at the time. I don't know, they're like $3,000 now. Wanted that Steve Vai guitar like crazy and couldn't afford it. So I lost my layaway, lost my guitar, and the very first guitar I had was my dad's acoustic guitar that was underneath the bed, and he shot me a G chord, a C chord, and a D chord, and that's pretty much all I knew. And just we didn't have tablature back then, so it was like here's this music sheets, and I didn't know how to read that, so I just played around with it and kind of taught myself. And like any other guitars I had, I modified that guitar. The first thing I did was it was an acoustic guitar. I believe it was supposed to be nylon strings, but I had to have steel strings because that's cool. And on the acoustic guitars, it had the tuners on two, so you had 3 and 3, and they were face down. So I wanted to be cool, so I took those off and flipped them around, so my tuners were up, and I had steel strings. And the action on the thing was probably a ½ inch high, and it tore the crap out of my fingers. Needless to say, I honestly don't know what happened to that guitar. I wish I still had that, because I would fix it up. But don't know what happened to that. But this is the oldest guitar that I have, and it's the first one I bought myself. And I absolutely love it. Like I said, it ain't no Franken Strat like Eddie, but it does have that tone, that sound to it with this pickup. And I want to say it's the Desario Tone Zone. Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but and I don't even know if they make that anymore. But that's what that is. This is the DiMaggio Blue Velvet. Absolutely love this pickup. Probably never get rid of it. I don't think they make them anymore. And it's, if you want something that's got that creamy blues, like BB King or Slash when he's like playing clean, this right there, awesome. I honestly can't remember what this one is. I wish I did, but I never use that one. I mainly only use bridge, but I do like this one. Most of my other guitars I just strictly play bridge anyway. So that's Old Blue.